Hello,
Got it.
everybody.
Got it.
Welcome
Hold on.
to
Trying to fix the
Tuesday
hair.
Music Show. Jay's preoccupied with his hair.
Yeah, it's not good tonight. It's the moisture in the air. It rained here. I'm lucky to be alive.
Speaking of your hair, Jay, of your hair,
Ponytail?
you have 7 days because on the 22nd, Matrix 4 comes out.
Oh.
And Keanu is sporting a beard.
I didn't shave today, and I've got the black trench coat.
You got to get it back before then.
Yeah.
And you know what I would do if I were you? I'd shave the Keanu lines right here.
I might do the Keanu lines, and I might dye
just
it.
for
I might
that.
just go actual black beard, because who cares? The Grecian formula, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
who cares?
Just model it after his, and I think you'll be a popular guy. In fact, I expect that on the next Tuesday Night Music Show.
I'll wear the black turtleneck and the black the trench coat. I have that from living in Boston. I have a black raincoat that I've not.
I don't want a raincoat.
My wife's like, why do you have that? I'm like, because it rains. And I bought it in like 1990, but it's like I haven't worn it in so long. Why would I get rid of it? Because
you're going to be a really popular guy.
Sadly, when I bought it, it was called a raincoat. Now it looks like I'm in Columbine. No disrespect to anybody.
I mean, it's not like, it's in theaters, but it's on HBO Max too. So everyone's going to see the damn thing.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. I will just walk up and down the street with a dog. Does he have a dog in this one? Oh, that's John Wick.
It's
I got to figure out my characters.
Yeah, different.
Yeah.
Howie, how are you?
I'm frazzled.
You're frazzled.
I am. I've been.
Howie has a big gig coming up. He's a little.
I've been programming like crazy, and then like redoing it because I didn't have the stage layout. I still don't know how big the stage is. So
Howie's doing a gig in upstate New York with Eric.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Eric
Lake
Washington.
Placid. Yep. The Christmas thing.
By the way, we were all talking before we went live. What were we talking about?
Something about firefighters and police officers.
Okay. My phone just went off in my pocket, and on my phone is the first thing, if you can see that Twitter, comes up, the Boston Police Department.
There you go.
So if you don't think, don't worry about the shot following you around. Your phone's already doing that for you.
Yeah.
I had that big gig last month. I know what it's like. But
you're the first one I thought of. I thought, this is what Brian's going through. There's so many unknowns, and I'm literally going to have to get up at noon, go to the venue. Luckily, the movers are 300 watts, so I'll still be able to see them in the daytime.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
And do that and build that show, that part of the show anyway. The rest of it's all done.
This is what you do.
And then that's what I do. And I'm not complaining. I thrive on the the thrill of the edge.
Sure.
So
you're going to enjoy it. That's why you took
I know I will.
If you didn't want to do it, you wouldn't have taken it.
Right.
But I have no doubt you'll be fine.
Yeah. Of course you will.
I have no doubt you'll be just fine. But I get it though. It's just like, but you feel this, I did anyway. You feel this just sense of relief and accomplishment on the way home. You're like, I did it.
Exactly.
Did it. Then you make it home alive, and you're
the nice thing is that I can be home Christmas Eve at 2 a.m. and be back here in the chill room.
It's like a movie.
Hey, I made it.
It's like a Hallmark. This is one of those Lifetime Hallmark movies.
Right.
It's like Howie does lighting at Christmas time, 9 p.m. Sunday.
That was a lot. There was some of the elements that were thrown at me when it was like, it's a concert for a band. Oh, okay, I can do that. So, and then it's like, we would like some Christmas colors and some Christmas chases, meaning red and green, which is
cluster laser is done. Sorry.
Snowflake gobos. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then it's
you should send him a TS. You should send him a Trans-Siberian Orchestra video, and say, this is the last show I did at Christmas, and just have him be like, to the point when you get there, they just go like, do whatever you want. Where are the lasers? Actually, we don't have those.
Well, Eric's seen my work, so he's he's actually worse off than I am. So I can count my blessings. He bought that video wall,
right?
And he's going to be operating the video wall and running sound. And all I have to do is tap on the iPad.
But don't you think once you have sound dialed in, Like, I don't know how big the venue or how many people we're talking about here.
Exactly.
But really, once you, like, the other night I
Yeah.
had an MC who did sound and lighting. He brought 2 Chauvet gig bars, hooked them up together, put up 2 speakers, and MC'd. All I had to do was open a case and play music for a bunch of bar mitzvah kids. But on paper, it was sound and lighting by Spencer. DJ by DJ Brannan. I'm like, guys, it's a bar mitzvah for 100 people. Like, this isn't a concert. Like,
yeah, this will be thousands. So, it's still going to be fun.
Yeah.
And I get to work with some really high powered movers I've never worked with before. But
XYZ, done.
Yeah.
XYZ, exactly. Change the color. Oh, turn the prism on. Hey, make it rotate. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Well, and if there's a mistake, you just call it as like, don't you love the way I lit up the front row that time? And had the movers point directly down on top of the guy doing sound and blind him. I did that on purpose because people love when there's a blind sound man.
It's funny you should say that. He actually asked me to write a program for that. He said, I want the lights to all go out into the audience. I said, okay.
You do the blinder effect.
Yeah.
Well, he does have the blinders. He has, what the heck are they called?
The panel ones?
The big 3 foot by 3 foot.
Oh,
panel.
yeah. The real blinders.
Real blinders, 2 of them, powerful.
Well, it's funny with Brian here. I don't,
or whatever.
I remember when Brian went, and this goes back, gosh, it's got to be like 10, 11 years ago. Brian did a really good video about, what's your light show look like? And in your mind, you look at it from behind the table, and then you go out on the other side, and you're like, oh my God, is that train coming to kill me?
Yeah, I was thinking about redoing that video.
I did a video afterwards, and I'm like, a wedding, and I remember going, my God, this looks terrible. But from behind the table, I'm like, man, the Revo 3, look at what it does. Until you stand in front of the table and you go, wow, it's a blinding light. So
that's what's nice about the iPad is that I can walk in front of it, and I do this at every event. And how does it look to the audience? Oh, yeah, I'm blinding grandma. Let me change that a little bit.
That's the perspective that a lot of people miss. And I thought it was interesting because I made the mistake for years.
Oh, I did too.
I did too.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, man, point those bars straight out. And for years,
great.
I was blinding people,
I made a wonderful light show for me.
Right.
No one else.
No, but it's funny. You know what? It's funny you even bring it up that way. We talked one night in the chill room about should we be putting lights in the far corners of the room so that when dancing starts, the lights aren't next to me. The lights are actually on the other side of the room, and now they're coming at me. Because if you go to like an EDC big show, all those lights are on stage, and they really light up the audience, not by mistake, but by design. So in that realm, they're captive. But at a wedding event or a party that we would do as DJs, people are moving and flowing around. Do you want to have a constant where the lights interact? Or, it's one of those age-old questions of, how can we improve?
I think you can achieve that with uplighting, and I think I do. Just with that whole concept.
Right.
But you got to remember at a concert, like at a legit concert, can't talk, a festival where you've got, truss. It's not 10 feet above your head.
No.
It's 50 feet above your head.
Right.
And it's probably 60 to 70 feet above the audience's head. So that light shining down isn't in their eyes because it's above them. It's a different deal. So, it's all perspective. And I think that
and they're watching lights from that perspective of it involves the performer. We're doing lights that we feel involve the audience.
Right.
Like I never think of my lighting as come on me. Until I did the 600, 700, 800 person New Year's Eve parties where I would purposely put a light, whether it was a Vertigo or whatever, that only went on me, just so I stood out a little bit. But the rest of the lighting was just to flood the room and flood the audience. And it is a weird perspective. It's always been how we've done it. And yet when you stand out there, you're like, okay, it's a train. There's nothing more than a train in a tunnel coming at the audience to kill them.
There are ways. I mean, and there's more videos I could probably do on that, or an updated video on that or something. So
we've evolved and gotten smarter.
No, we definitely have.
We're
I mean, yeah. I mean, just the consoles I had before, you did what you could do, but you couldn't walk around with it. Now with the iPad thing, you can actually walk around the room. You know, it's amazing.
It's changed the game big time.
It really has. Yeah.
Big time.
Well, I wanted to touch on something tonight. A couple of small topics. We can talk about all kinds of stuff tonight. I'm not, suggesting we should talk for an hour on this.
Okay.
I saw a really interesting post on Facebook, and it was specific. So I don't want to ask the question that was asked on Facebook. I want to ask more of a general question.
Okay.
Got you.
Okay, so put your DJ hat on for a minute. We're going to talk music.
Hold on.
John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band.
You know what? It's funny you mention that before I get into this topic, because I was almost ready to send you a link. I had noticed in my YouTube feed that someone had reacted to John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. And I thought, this video is right up Jay's alley. So what do millennials or Gen Z think of John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band? Jay wants to know.
I do want to know. And
I didn't look at the video, but I'll have to send you the link.
Well, at the time, it was so Springsteen to me that I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I love that rootsy, bluesy, real rock and roll kind of vibe that Eddie and the Cruisers had. But they made you think the music was from the 50s right out of the gate. So
60s anyway, wasn't it?
Well, 60s, yeah.
Yeah.
Tomato. It gave you that whole decade.
Whatever. Long time ago.
It's a long time.
Way after Howie was born. That's what
I'd like to get into maybe a little bit of that even after this topic, because I had another thought that I wanted to throw out there.
Yeah,
but
go for it.
Okay.
Say you're like a DJ at a wedding or a bar mitzvah or quinceañera or birthday party, whatever. Are there songs that you only play by request?
Yes.
But you don't just play arbitrarily because you think it, or play, you don't ever get the thought in your head where it's like, I think this would work really well here. Is there anything like that for you?
Yes.
What song, just pick one song that you can think of that you only play by request?
YMCA.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the line dance things as well. On the lines of YMCA would be like wobble stuff and, the electric slide only by request.
I do play those if I feel like that they'll enhance the party.
They'll bring women out.
If I feel like they need a push start.
Yeah, they'll bring girls out. You play cha-cha, you play electric.
They're just sitting there and they're not self-starters. Maybe something like this would get them warmed up. So I'll do parties where they're going very well. I don't play the line dances.
Cupid Shuffle is a great way to go back down.
I have PTSD from that, though. No, seriously. I did a block party, and it was going great until they requested the very first line dance, and then
you went into that hole.
I didn't have a choice. Then they came running up. Can you play this one next? This one next? I played 45-minute set of nothing but line dances, and I was at the end of it. I wanted to go. Pew.
I want 45 minutes of line dances because I'll play them all together. I'll do.
That's what I had to do,
like a medley
in a block.
But
get out of the way.
But you cast what the game is, in my opinion. You work your way up to Cupid Shuffle because it's the fastest.
I'll do wobble last.
Here's my theory. I do Cupid Shuffle last because it's 140 BPM, and it's 70 BPM, so it's a double. And what I can do is I can immediately, and I did this at the bar mitzvah Saturday night, pack the floor on that, and I came out of it looped into Soulja Boy Cranked at 70 BPM, and they went nuts. And even the MC comes over, he goes, "Dude, I forget about this song." I'm like, I did it at a wedding like 6 months ago, and it crushed because I needed to get back down to the slow stuff, and I followed it with Lizzo. He goes, "Oh, that would kill." I'm like, it did. There's a method to the madness. I think I famously told this story real quick. I did a wedding where the bride had met the groom because he was a caretaker for the bride's brother who was autistic, but severely autistic. and he came there with all of his friends from this home that he lived in. Well, the bride had said he loves the Macarena. Great. So at one point after dinner, I played the Macarena. And this is only about 6 or 7 years ago. And the brother and all his friends got up, and then the bride and groom, and then the parents. And now you saw the whole room get up. And that was the green light for Hokey Pokey, Chicken Dance, Casper,
no.
Every single song I could get. My Wobble wasn't even out yet. So I didn't have Wobble. I didn't have.
What about Whippin' Nene? Was that out of time?
I played that Saturday night, this past Saturday, but that wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
Neither was Salento. Or Salento, the Whippin' Nene?
Yeah.
It's Stiletto, isn't it?
The Giddy Up.
Oh, Blanco Brown
Blanco
or
something. Yeah.
I got nothing with that one.
I played Old Town Road the other night. They all kind of lost their S for it. I mean, you know what? This is the downside, and this is why I tell people no one can come to a wedding I'm doing or an event, because that client's brother, who was instrumental in the bride and groom meeting, wanted this music, and every single person in the room ran out on the dance floor. So if you walked in as a prospective client and said, "Yeah, I heard Jay's a great DJ. Oh my God, the Chicken Dance. Wait, Hokey Pokey? There's no way we're hiring him." But for that wedding, for that group, I couldn't have done better. And I think I ended with like YMCA or something, and they loved it. And the bride and groom were thrilled. And my only job, and our only job as a DJ, is to take that group of people on this date at that time and provide them with the best service we can. So whatever they're into, we go.
Well, I've had events where they did not dance at all, but they came up and said, "Great job," and tipped me well. And I was like, well, it was a political thing. They just did not want to dance and get caught in an awkward gotcha moment looking, and I'm like, okay, well, as long as you're happy.
The question that was actually asked, I answered yes to, but
what is
there were conditions on it. The question was, do you play Thunderstruck by AC/DC at weddings? And my answer was, I only play that song when they ask for it. And it's usually for something like the recessional, if there's a ceremony or a grand entrance.
Now that's interesting.
I don't think I've ever dropped it as a dance track.
I've done it by request.
And I've only done it by request.
Yeah.
But
right.
Well, because we have the go-to.
It's nothing that I would say, hey, I think Thunderstruck would fit really well here. I've never done that.
No, because you have other AC/DC that at pretty much any event, there's a moment in time where Shook Me All Night Long would probably work.
Probably.
But you know what? I don't know that I've ever on my own played Here I Go Again by Whitesnake, even though it's a huge song, and I've had.
Well, it's a breakup song.
Hey, do you have it?
So.
Well, no, I know, but so is people want
we don't play a lot of Adele.
People want Al Green. Let's stay together, and it's like, really? Okay.
Or I Will Survive, Gloria Gaynor. But
he wrote it for his wife, who he cheated on.
Exceptions to the rule,
right?
For some reason, I don't know why.
I think there's the middle of the road songs that we all know work. The top 200, and if you look at the top 200 Mobile Beat or whoever's, you're probably not going to find Thunderstruck.
No, you don't. But it's a popular request for certain activities. But
it's only also for the right group. Well, I was saying the other night, you weren't here, Brian. I don't know. I'm sure you've seen this year with your events. There's a demographic that if you play Mr. Brightside, you could get a stadium. I mean, there's videos on YouTube of DJs playing Mr. Brightside at football games.
That's never went away, though. We've always done that.
I know, but I haven't played it in years because nobody came to me with it. It's become, a bigger thing, it seems.
They do, because they sing along to it while they're dancing.
Right, but it's become bigger. Like, I can tell you by looking at my played tracks in Serato, I didn't play it last year.
Speaking of AC/DC,
you do the thing where you pull the fader down and let them yell out, "I'm 100% Brightside," and 100%. Boom up. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of AC/DC, now Jay will be able to give us the answer to this question. Bon Scott was the original singer of AC/DC, correct?
Yes.
Yep. And he died.
Was.
He died.
Yes.
After
and then the replacement was who?
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson always sounds like he's trying to take a dump when he sings.
He was with a band called Geordie.
But every time I hear an AC/DC song,
he's
making it like this, like he's trying to push one out. And I have a hard time
why
with
they
that.
chose.
I think of a guy taking a dump every time I hear anything that's not Bon Scott AC/DC.
Right, but Bon Scott saw him play with Geordie in London once, and was so amazed. The next day,
it sounds like he's taking a dump, but I like it.
But he commented to the guys, "Man, I saw the greatest lead singer ever. Talk about energy. This guy from Geordie, his name is Brian Johnson." Well, he left early in the show, and what Bon Scott didn't know was Brian Johnson was screaming so much on stage because he was in pain. And at the end of the show, by ambulance, they took him to the hospital. I guess either his appendix had ruptured or he had kidney stones.
Well, you're going to start talking about gerbils or something.
No. He was physically in pain.
Well, that explains a lot. Yeah.
And it was one of those things where when they saw him, they were like, Bon Scott's like, "Oh, this guy's amazing." It's like, yeah, because he's in agony. And eventually the band, when he died, they contacted him. But if you ever see an interview with him, he's genuinely one of these, like, even though he's a multimillionaire, he's super one of these down to earth. Let's go to.
I'm sure he's a great guy. And I'm not critiquing him as a human. I'm just saying as a singer,
you feel it's forced.
That's what happened.
Forced is a little on the nose. Yeah, he's forcing something, but it sounds like he's forcing a turd that won't quite come out of his anus. Is what it sounds like.
When Jay called me last week, I went, "Hello, Jay. Yeah, how you doing?" He goes, "What are you doing? Taking a dump?" And I was like, how'd you know?
You got to have that quiet zone where the phone, you just look at and you do what I do. You just go, "Please text. Please text."
The show goes south.
Yeah.
We're fired.
We're fired.
My fault. I'm the one who brought up the dump thing.
Well, I was going to say, I spoke with John last week and he's like, "As long as you don't bring up dumping." And I'm like, "Not me."
Not me. It's Brian. He's fired.
Yeah.
So I made an observation that I thought Jay would appreciate today.
No,
No, a different one.
Oh,
different one.
Okay, because I'm like, I don't get that.
Yeah,
I made an observation that I thought Jay might appreciate.
We have topics here tonight, Jay.
It's kind of a pop topic thing. I'm bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't understand that concept.
I know. You're always focused.
Locked and loaded, baby. Tunnel vision.
Jay Laser Brannan, yeah.
What's
Laser
the
Jay.
topic? Here we go.
Yeah, come on. Get back on track, guys. I was watching, which I haven't watched I don't know if I've ever watched it really now that I think about it. I knew what it was, but I hadn't physically seen it happen. Peter Frampton doing "Do You Feel Like We Do?" Watching him doing that live.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, heard the song.
Sure.
10 billion times.
Yep.
My sister had the album. My brother had the album.
Yep.
It got played on loop, and it got played on classic rock radio and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew he was using a talk box.
Yes.
I knew he was using that.
With a Leslie speaker.
Yes.
Which actually spins.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's got the horns that spin. It gives what's called a Doppler effect.
Yeah. Almost like a filtering where it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. So the talk box, the other one, Deep Purple, John Lord used one on the Hammond organ.
Mm-hmm.
He had a Leslie.
The B3, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave that same kind of whoosh, 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 whoosh effect.
I mean, amazing performance.
Yeah.
And,
my
the
first
talk box
concert
thing.
in 1979.
Pardon?
My very first concert was Peter Frampton.
Oh, okay.
Climax Blues Band, Boston Garden.
Oh, awesome.
So I got to see him do that song 3 years after Frampton Comes Alive.
That's cool.
And it was amazing when he got to it.
Frampton Comes Alive, I think that was 76, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was 76. Yeah. I saw him in June of 79.
Yeah.
So I know, everybody, when they think about Peter Frampton, they think about the talk box, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he was just a hot guitar player.
He was a very
really
good
hot
guitar player.
Oh yeah.
Well, look at your friend, Mr. David Bowie, who on the Spiders from Mars 82 tour,
Ziggy Stardust stuff. Yeah,
picked up as his lead guitar player on that tour, Peter Frampton.
right.
They went to school together, and I believe Peter Frampton's father was a professor at the school and told Peter about one of his students, David Jones, aka David Bowie.
I think you've told this story before. Yeah, I didn't know it until you told it. Yeah,
yeah, and it's an actual true story, and that's how they first met up in school. But as guitar players go, Peter Frampton is genuinely a very, very good guitar player.
I always just thought of it as the talk box thing, but I'm watching him play, and I'm like, damn, this guy's good.
Oh yeah, you know where he got that from? Joe Walsh.
Yeah, Joe Walsh used it, and
Jeff Beck used it too.
Yeah, Jeff Beck, and
we didn't get it from Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh did it later, didn't he?
No, I think the first time. Well, he heard it from somebody else way back.
Rocky Mountain Way was later, wasn't it? Or no, was it?
But I think there was something to do with
Rocky Mountain Way was 73, I think.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. I can look it up real quick on my.
I mean, I'm not doubting you. I mean,
the sad thing is on five fingers, I can name. You've got Frampton with his version. Probably the most recent big talk box thing we heard, honestly, in the 80s would have been Bon Jovi.
Right, Living on a Prayer, yeah.
Living on a Prayer. Scorpions, The Zoo. That's all mostly talk box.
Well, the B section is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Joe Walsh. Rocky Mountain Way was 1973.
Okay. So he wasn't, but again, I mean, God, what a hot guitar player. I mean, take the talk box and put it over here. That was a gimmick thing, and that's what I think people remember him by, but he was hot.
No, he was a very good guitar player.
What I was getting at, Jay,
a lot of those out there.
What I was getting at with that is, I mean, that album was huge. Frampton Comes Alive.
Very big.
Just huge.
Got to be in the top 10.
It went
biggest selling.
It went platinum right away. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it's gone diamond, which is 25 million.
Now his follow-up with I'm in You on it, I don't think anybody got super excited about. I mean, it did well.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the same energy.
But he'd already had 2 or 3 albums before Comes Alive.
Well, what I was wondering is this. And this was just a thought. If it wasn't for Eddie Van Halen, do you think that the public would have been looking at him as the guitar guy? Because Eddie came out in 77 and we never heard anything like that before.
No, Eddie was on a different level.
Yeah.
Right. So if there had never been an Eddie,
right,
do you think Frampton would have been the guy everybody talked about?
No. And I'll tell you why I say that. Because you already had historically, you had the Trinity that was still going, which is Beck, Page, and Clapton. And they were still doing things. And they were arguably 3 of the greatest of all time.
Clapton at that point in time, I thought, in my mind,
we had Slow Hand.
He'd become like a blues guy.
No, he had.
And it wasn't like rock and roll anymore. It was kind of bluesy.
Was the Beano album with John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. That's really where he came into fame. Pre-Yardbirds, it was John Mayall and the Blues Breaker, and then all of a sudden he joined the Yardbirds that had already had Beck and Page and now had Clapton, and it was like, the list of great guitarists in the 70s is so long. I mean, even something like Don Felder's solo on the Eagles' Hotel California. I mean, and Joe Walsh being in the same band.
Well, I know you're speaking of it as a guitar player hero thing. I'm speaking of it as a general public perception thing. Because I'm looking at Frampton doing this performance on Midnight Special. He's young, he's skinny.
Yeah.
He's not a bad looking guy.
No.
And he's doing this crazy gimmicky stuff. He's doing it in a way that I don't think anybody had ever done it before until he did.
Exactly.
But he didn't follow it. It wasn't him. And the reason I say that is because it didn't come back. Like, he'd never done an instrumental. Here comes the first Van Halen album. And after Running with the Devil, you have 1:27 of Eruption.
Right.
Yes.
Like they made that statement right out of the gate. Like you drop the needle, running the devil, boom, eruption. You're like, whoa. Like they went for that. Peter Frampton never put that out there.
I counted 3 solo breaks, and Do You Feel Like We Do?
Oh, yeah. And they're all good. When he comes off the talk box, the last solo break, where it's like, yeah, and he comes off it and like, da-da-da-da. Like that's an amazing solo break. But but it's all in how you judge.
Song.
It's like 13 minutes long, maybe.
I heard the short version. The midnight special version is not that long. But
okay.
The solo that stood out for me, actually, oddly enough, was the first one.
Okay.
And what I liked about it was how he came out of it and went back into the chorus. He hit a note that was really cool. It was different than anything else.
It's the resolve.
Kind of like, it was a great resolve.
And we've had this talk, and I think this is where people are starting to catch on.
And why I hate you too. Yeah.
You know, you look at patterns. Like if I say we're in the key of C, okay, we're in the key of C, and we're going to do a 1-4-5. So you're saying you're starting on C. That's 1. So D, E, F, G is 4. A is 5. Well, if you're soloing and you know you're coming back to C, the great guitar players out there are the ones that are like all over the place, blah, 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 and then they suddenly come back to C.
But they do like a 7th or something. It was like, wow.
Right, exactly. They bring this weird melody thing in, and then they're back, and you're suddenly like, oh my God, this fits so perfect. I've often said, in my experience in music, and I stand by this 110%, the greatest solo I've ever heard that fits the song the most perfectly is about a 2-minute and 30-second song by Aerosmith called Home Tonight. And if you get a chance, look up the song Home Tonight. It's off Rocks. I believe it's the last song on Rocks on vinyl. It's a short song, but when you hear the solo against the melody and the vocal and everything else, it is genuinely one of the most perfect things I've ever heard. And when I play it for guitar players that don't know it, they just look at me like, oh my God, that's perfect. Like it's just there. Nowadays, the problem with rock and roll, and I heard a great quote today of somebody saying, the reason rock and roll is not dead, it's not on the radio, is because too many guitar players are in bands trying to impress each other, and they're not willing to write a good song. And I'm thinking, you know what? There's some validity to that nowadays. Guitar players are going a little too extreme. They are going like, look what I can do. No. Write a great song. Give me Girl, You Really Got Me.
Completely unrelated thought, Jay.
No, but it's still staying in the guitar
No.
realm.
What I'm about to say, not what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
You were on point. I'm telling you, I have a completely unrelated point.
Izzy, get the tape. Get me a voice drop of him saying that, because that's never going to happen again.
You're a Howard Stern
never
fan.
On point.
You're a Howard Stern fan.
Yes.
What do they do when Marianne from Brooklyn calls in?
Caw.
That's what your dog is doing to you. That's what your dog is doing to you right now.
My dog is doing that right now. Bailey, seriously? I'm on the radio.
It's
or
just
TV.
Funny to
I'm
me.
on the computer.
It's just barking. That's what Jay is doing. It's a sound effect. Like Howie's putting it in there as a joke or something. Just an observation. I'm sorry. I had a Marianne from Brooklyn.
And hold on. Fred just told me
your dog's
there
barking.
is the logo for whatever's on the TV, the logo, that the screensaver logo. That freaks her out. Yeah. Apparently the dog's freaked out by the logo on the TV. Doesn't like the logo on the TV. Yes. So Bailey is now speaking her mind. Yeah. We're going to go to Mike from Maine. Mike from Maine. How are you today, Mike? If you're into Howard Stern, you know what that means.
Sorry about that. I
didn't mean to.
I took Jay off topic, which is,
awesome.
Wouldn't it be awesome if we get a call? Wouldn't it be awesome if this show gets a call like, hey, we love what you guys are doing. We want you to come to Sirius.
Awesome. Yeah. We're there, dude.
Well, I did last night. You couldn't make it, but Jay went off the rails, and I went, okay, let me put this train back on the rails. And he goes, no, wait. I'm coming back around full circle. And he did. He was real clever, and he brought it right back on to the original top. He goes, see, I know how to drive a train. Yeah. And I was like, okay.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I something else I was thinking about today. And I don't know. I have a rule, and I think I've told you guys the rule. I don't try to change anybody's mind over 50.
Right. Yeah, you said that.
Because their mind's made up.
You have, yeah.
Like it's solidified. That's who they are. You know, if a guy's not married by 50, you know what? Just be single.
Yeah, yeah.
Or whatever. You know.
Too late now.
Yeah. Having said that, I think that we do learn and we adapt and we recognize our shortcomings. And, you know, if there was something about you, and and this is a critique of yourself, and there's no wrong answer. If there was something about you that you feel like that you'd like to improve on to help you along with your career, perhaps, what might that be? What might that personality trait be that you would like to change or try to
as a DJ?
Yeah, just to help you along with your career. What do you think would help you out?
I know what would and has helped me out was being open-minded and just being able to say, you know, analyze what's being said. Like some things that you've mentioned to me, I'm not stuck in what I believe in. I mean, if you have some valid points and facts, I have changed my mind on a number of topics that's been brought up. So I don't know that I would really change much. I mean,
well, you got a really good positive attitude. I mean, and that's something I really admire about you. I wish I had that kind of attitude. I try to have that kind of attitude. I really do.
You do.
Well, I try. I mean, it could be better.
Yeah.
You know,
you do.
It could be better. I was thinking about our friend Jay today, though. I was thinking about you specifically when I was thinking about this. And you know, I mean, there's something I think you missed the boat on. And I hope that as an elder statesman, you can get your head around it, because I think you'd be a better DJ and just a happier guy if you did.
Yeah, which is
I think
my
you're
number
too hard
one
on
goal.
yourself. You're too hard on yourself.
Oh, I think so. Yeah,
I know you are, and it doesn't serve you. It does not serve you.
Yeah, I make weddings almost life and death sometimes, where it's like I become so, this has got to be, and my mixing and my this and my that. I'm super critical.
I was thinking about when you came out to LA. You were going to be the next.
Oh yeah,
Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah,
and you saw something that discouraged you.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, fine. But then I'm watching this Peter Frampton thing today, and I'm thinking, Jay's that good. Jay could play that. Note for note, he could play that.
I genuinely.
And if somebody was jamming,
touched by that. Yeah.
If somebody was jamming, and you got a guitar and you said, "Hey, riff," you could totally do that.
Yeah,
and you do it your way.
Heard him play.
Yeah, he's good.
We were off camera. He's actually very good.
Jay's really good, and get the guy.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah.
Have him warm up, and like he's doing this for a week straight, and then oh my god. So
and Jay also, as the song lyric goes, you've got the look.
Oh, you do.
Well, that's the sad thing. Is like I'm playing the least I've ever played now. And I'll be honest with you, it might play into what you said. I went out of my way to buy the Les Paul, and I've played it very little. And I think part of that is I bought it with the understanding of I've always wanted this. This is what I need. This is that final piece of the puzzle.
And you're
afraid to put it into the puzzle.
Yeah.
Because when you do, now you're done.
Why do you think my dad let a 65 Mustang sit for 35 years?
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same
I totally understand
train of thought. I know it was.
I completely understand.
He didn't admit it, but I'm thinking about what reason would he have to do this? It's the only thing I can come up with. Same thing Jay does.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to achieve the goal, because if he does, there's nothing to look forward to.
Right. The trip is my destination.
But wait a minute now. I do this a lot, though. Like just that little speaker thing I made for you. It's like, okay, what's next? I've done stuff before. Okay, the Howie box. Okay, what am I going to come up with now? I don't know, but I know something will come to me. And I think you guys have that too. I know that you've done it, Brian. It's like, okay, John goes, geez, how you guys going to top this show? And we come up with something like 3 weeks ago was the most hilarious show ever. you know, about, that concert,
right. Sure.
I mean, it just, I don't know.
You can't unsee some things.
I know you brought it up, and that's all I'm thinking about.
But the inside of us knows that, okay, we don't have the answer right away, but I know that I'll come up with something, another project, another cool thing, just because you have accomplished something that's not an end. That's just okay, transition to something else. Brian, it's going to happen to you where they're going to come to you and they're going to say, we need this and we need you to create it. And it's going to happen.
And I do it.
But don't you think that's that's part of our talent trait is, I can sit here and download every song. I could sit here and have a 200 terabyte hard drive, every song ever made on it. That wouldn't matter in the least showing up in an event.
No,
it doesn't matter at all. I can get brand new mics. I can have Howie help me with programming. I can have all my lights set up. I can do all this cool stuff. I mean, we were here last night talking with DJs who were talking about getting $7,500 a wedding. I'm like, but what are you doing? Well, because in my brain, it's like my sheer talent at the event is to go in there and focus on what's going to happen. And I hate to say it, guys, but even though I show up with a timeline and a list and all that, the moments that shine the brightest are the ones where somebody drops a glass in the middle of a toast and I make a crack like that.
Right.
My ability to off the cuff, the same with Brian and the same with Howie. Yes. That's our skill. If we walked into a venue tonight, if someone came to me right now and said, hey, we have 10,000 people down the street, would you mind getting up and speaking to them for 5 minutes? No, I wouldn't mind at all. Well, what are you going to talk about? You know what? When I get on stage, I'll figure it out.
If I could get in your head,
you can't get.
If I could get in your head and change something and tweak something with you, Jay, because I know you well. I admire you and what you do.
And I appreciate that. I love you. You're a good friend.
The thing that I would tweak in you, and every time you try to do it, I'd probably like send electric shock to you somehow and
cattle prod. Yeah.
Cattle prod him every time you get
Howie went there pretty fast.
Hey,
well, that's what I'm thinking.
I'll build you a small one.
I was going to say.
I was thinking more about jumper cables in inappropriate places.
Now I have a new project.
Why do my nipples hurt so much? Yeah.
You're close. Go down a few feet.
I tried to be PG on this one.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
Every time that you come up with an idea, it's a good one. I mean, it's something to play around with. I mean, talking about the Beatles last week, they would get an idea and they wouldn't sit around and say, no, John had a better idea. They'd be like, oh, let's work with that. Ringo would say, I want to be under the scene in Octopus's Garden right after they did get back.
Right.
And everybody's like, that's cool. Let's work with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They weren't like comparing their like Ringo's idea to Paul's idea. They were just, hey, they're all ideas.
Let's run with it.
But
it's difficult to get a group to do
I think that sometimes you compare your ideas to other people's ideas.
All the time.
And that is, I think, not serving you well.
No, it's not. I'll give you the idea I came up with years ago. No, at least 10 years ago, I came to Pulse and I go, hey, I got an idea. He goes, what? I said, here's the idea. We need to make, or maybe like 8 years ago, whenever apps had kind of started, I said, I got an idea for an app. He goes, what is it? I said, it's for single girls. So let's say you're a single girl, you're going to go on a date. And we come up with a company where the girl would call us or text us or whatever and say, hi, this is Sally Smith. It's 7:00 on Sunday. I'm going to the movies with a man named Howie Darkstar. And I should be home at 11. But if I'm going to be late, I'll let you know. And if it's now midnight, so the company or the app would then text Sally and say, hey, Sally, are you home yet? And if Sally didn't respond, within an hour, we would have a phone number of our good friend we could call. And the name of the app I wanted was Where Am I Now? And it was then eventually the parents' phone numbers would be, you would give this whole outline of your biography of like, hey, here's my parents, here's my sister, call this one, call that one. Because it came to me one day when I saw, how has this girl been missing for 4 days and nobody knew? Like, as a man, I've never worried about going out on the night, but I've dated girls and known women who've gone out with some guy that tried to either rape them or abuse them or do something to them, and there was no way for them to get help. Granted, now my iPhone, I can touch a button and it dials 911, but 8 or 9 years ago, that wasn't there. And he looked at me like, you're kidding. This is the greatest idea ever. And he found that a company had already started doing it. And I'm like, well, that's a good thing they've already started doing it. I didn't get upset about it. But, I mean, look at the 24-hour DJ set. I was in the shower on a Monday. I did the set 8 days later or 9 days later. I did it. That's the way these things work. They just, hey, what do you think of this? But I don't get to try them out because once I get the idea, I kind of park it and go, okay, cool. That's an idea. What else do I have?
Oh, that's fine.
That's
the brainstorming thing. And that's cool. What I'm talking about is you thinking to yourself, hey, I've got this idea to do this thing. And then you look in your rearview mirror. Look who's behind me. I don't know. Better drive faster. Better not do that thing. Better move on to the next thing. Who's in my side mirrors? Fuck that, man. Just drive. Don't worry about who's in your side mirrors, your rear view. And just punch 100%. It and go.
100%.
I mean, 100%. You're over totally 50, so I'm not going to change your mind. But if I could, that's what I would talk to you about.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what?
I have an idea.
I heard that wrong.
Listen, I heard that wrong. I have an idea.
About over 30?
Let me float this by you. When I was in Boston last week, and I forgive me if I pronounced the name wrong, but it was the Ragozzo.
Wife. The Ragozzo brothers or something.
No, it's a male and female, and he was DJing and she was playing guitar along to it. Why couldn't you break out that guitar?
Yeah.
And play along with it, sling it around your neck, you know, your back, and then you just go and do your thing.
Oh, I've thought about that with him too. It's like, my God, he could like solo over Black Eyed Peas B sections or whatever he wants to do.
Guys out there doing drumming things. I more prefer the guitar, and I think you could pull it off.
You know what's crazy, Howie? I mean, there's speakers like the Evolve 30M out there that Jay could make a phone call and have. They got built-in stuff for that with effects that he could play with at his gigs.
I know. I remember when you had your son-in-law, Eris.
Yep.
And you did that video, and they tried to say, "Hey, wait a minute," and he played it so well and dialed it in that the logarithm thought that they blocked it. They thought that they were playing
video
copyrighted music. Yeah, that's how cool that.
Well, this isn't going to make anybody's night. And if anything, this is going to upset everyone in the room. But I not only spoke with Chris Cox about this, I spoke with DJ Ashba about this. And DJ Ashba is now doing what he calls GDM, which is guitar dance music. And I talked to Chris and said, you know, it'd be cool. And it started about, I'm not lying, 20 years ago.
Well, Chris is a player too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's good.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, big time. And said to him, like, hey, I'd love to come do, I think metal and dance would work together. Because they're two audiences that can go to a show alone and have a good time. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So we're still kind of, you know, doing a little bit of a discussion. But yeah, I mean, I hadn't thought of it till I saw that last week.
I like that. That's good to hear.
But wouldn't it be fun, Jay, just to do it your way? Just to not worry about like trying to completely conceive the idea and just go out there and do it. Just have it with you. And if you don't play it all night, that's fine. But if there's a song that's got this B section in it and you just want to solo over it, just do
something
and see what they do.
Well, right. I was at the DJ Collective and they had a fucking saxophone. Excuse me, John. They had a saxophone player show up and it was Dawson High, who's like a 16-year-old DJ prodigy. Not really, but and this guy playing saxophone from New Jersey in a like weird suit. And like he would just start playing saxophone. Tic Tacs. Don't leave home without them.
Hint. That's a hint.
Yeah, unless your dog
threw those at you.
No, the dog got in my backpack.
Oh.
It's been raining here, which means the dog's not
wanted
going
you to
out.
have them.
The dog loves water,
The dog's
loves the
telling you
pool,
your
loves the
breast
hose,
stinks,
but can't go outside. Exactly. So, and you know, I'm like, wow, saxophone with a DJ, and they're like, oh, we sell this for like $5,000. I'm like, and all of a sudden, I'm like, am I? But here's my logic, honestly, Brian. And if I were to say to a bride and groom, like, this is part of what I do, or this is who I am, they might view it as, oh, this is awesome. Whereas I might, in my head, be like, am I trying to like superstar this wedding? Am I trying to take over? And or am I making this a different?
No,
event?
that's a valid objection or a valid concern. Absolutely. But on the other hand, there's a time and a place. So you got to pick that time. There are times in the evening where you can do anything and nobody cares anymore.
Oh yeah, nobody cares.
Right.
Like nobody cares.
Well, I don't know.
Again,
Your weddings
are paying you to entertain them. What's wrong with you entertaining
we
them?
got it in our heads, and it's true. I think that we should remember it, that we are the man behind the curtain, and we should really, you know, at a wedding, we should like really, hey, you should be the star. Now, I know your weddings are typically shorter than the ones I do. Like,
they're about 2 hours, Brian. Go ahead, say it. I know yours are 12 hours.
No, 12. No, I'm just saying, you know, for 2 hours.
It started 5, they ended 7. I mean, it's a difficult.
For an hour and a half to 2 hours, I got stuff I got to do that's going to highlight the bride and groom. After about an hour and a half to 2 hours, they're tired.
Right.
And they just want to hang.
And it's a party for the guests.
Knucklehead. And I do it.
Well, and that makes sense, because then you come out there and just start like crushing it.
There's a point in the evening, and it's within the 2 hour period,
right,
where they'll come up to me and they'll say it in this fashion: "You did a fantastic job. We couldn't be happier." Not "You're doing a fantastic job." To me, that says we're done. Thank you for helping us realize our dream, because you did it. Now I can do anything. And that's when I go freeform. And that's when it gets interesting. And they still like it. But
we joke about the tan and tall thing with Pulse.
Right.
Like that, the name, like he's like, I'm tall and I'm tan. Okay, great. That's cool. And I've had those days where I'm driving like to events going, man, this is how the tour will go. He'll DJ, we'll get these songs put together, and I'll just play guitar on stage, whether it's harmonics, I'll do a solo run, I'll do a thing. We could do this whole thing because there's a lot of songs that already have it. Yeah, when we go on tour, we can stay in the same hotel room like always. We can chill, we can talk, we'll be on the bus, I'll practice, he can come up with songs, we'll get a writer. Like, I've made this get all the way up to like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madison Square Garden. We're tan and tall. Go. like I don't go small on this stuff at all. My agent gets too much money. I've got to go big.
You have to take a small step and take that thing out of the case and start playing.
I think that's probably the first thing I should do. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell to both of you.
Okay.
Now that you've brought it up to me, and now that we have this new technology with these laptopy things that we're talking on and all that, I've decided my next official gig, believe it or not, my next paying gig, now that my Sunday got canceled, my next actual paying contracted gig is in April. It's December.
Okay.
So obviously, in my mind, I will pick up events as we go. I've already gotten hit.
You will. Yeah, stuff will happen.
So I'm not worried. But this would be a great opportunity to redo the office behind me and set it up where maybe it's time for me to go to Twitch and do exactly what we're talking about.
I think that's a good idea.
Of some house music.
Excellent idea.
You know what? I'm going to be playing while I DJ. So
exactly.
Let me give myself a goal of next week. No.
Not the whole.
It's like scratching. If you do it all night, it's boring.
No,
it's once
totally
in a while,
boring.
it's cool. You know,
but just accent things and accent tracks and
right.
Let me look at what I need to get the amplifier into the sound card.
I think it would be interesting for you to. Well, you can mic it. That's all you got to do. Just mic it. But what I think would be interesting would be to come up with some songs that you like. Don't worry about what's popular.
No.
Think about songs you like.
I Remember by Dead Mouse and things like that. Over. Yeah. No, 100%.
And practice that.
Go. Yeah.
You can do that tonight.
Yeah. And just go for it. Yeah. No, I appreciate the push because it's one of those things that, you know, I've always told myself and other people until everyone knows about it, like it's a dream until you announce it. Then it becomes a project.
It's an idea. Like, it's just an idea. No, don't overthink this. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
No, I'm literally.
Let's try to think like young people. Let's just try things.
I'm almost within arm's reach. I'm about 4 feet away from 2 guitars and an amplifier. And even I thought today, I'm like, you know, you spent a lot of money on this stuff. You may want to actually start using it and
don't have to justify the purchase. Just enjoy it, you know?
But you know what it becomes, Brian? It becomes that thing of after school and high school, coming home and playing for 3 and 4 hours a day, 7-8 days a week. And it became the only goal, the only thing you viewed. And even now, today, I'm watching Paul Gilbert of Mr. Big explain how to play something. And in my head, I'm like, oh, that's okay. So I can do that. Okay. Oh, he did this. Okay. My brain still thinks I'm in high school trying to learn things, but I'm also at the same time not picking it up and going.
Do it.
Yeah.
And
it's like Luke Skywalker. Yeah, you know the Force. Just go.
Yeah.
Just go. You know the Force already.
And another way to look at it is share it with us and with others. You like making people happy. Yeah. Why not do it?
I'll tune in for that Twitch episode.
All right.
I will.
Just if you're going to try it for one song for 10 seconds, I'll tune in for it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Let me know.
It'll give me that moment where it does now with Twitch about I can DJ something, but it would be even better if I could say, well, you know what? Damn it, let's do this because I know this will work. I know
worry less about the mix and worry more about the programming, and then just throw your riff in.
Yeah,
I think you might have fun with that.
No, I think I'd have a blast with that.
I just hope that you don't have a backlash like Dylan did when Dylan went electric, and there was a big backlash. Oh, Jay Brannan goes electric.
It ruined his career.
Because he's been analog for so long.
Where did Dylan go from there? Like, no one ever heard of him after. Oh, wait a second. He still became prolific.
That's funny you mentioned that. I was watching reaction videos to We Are the World, and a lot of these young people were hitting most of the people. When they got to Dylan, like, who the hell's that guy? Nobody knew who he was.
It's like they use Dylan all the time when they go, would Dylan have made it through The Voice, or would Dylan have made it through America's Got Talent or the American Idol? No, he would not have.
No. Elton John wouldn't either.
No, and hence why I can't stand those shows.
That's the Tuesday Night Music show.
You're fast tracking somebody who already has talent.
Talking about music,
but you know,
can't stop. He's digging it. He wants to go into OT on this.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh wait.
He has a work ethic like wish you had.
We're at the hour.
Howie's got to go. He's got to program a show for the Dallas Cowboys or something.
Right.
Somewhere up there.
Or do something with the cheerleaders. It's none of our business.
We don't know. We don't care.
That's right.
He's going to send the video to us, and it's going to be this like Trans-Siberian Orchestra Christmas show, and I'm going to be like,
things I don't need to see.
But he's still going to walk around with the iPad like, check it out. Look what I did right here.
Like how I did this. I'm going to show you guys something here. Look
Boom. All of a sudden, there's Eric sweating every second of it. Oh my God. Worried about the mics cutting out.
Yeah.
That's an Eric thing.
It'll all be fine. I promise.
Now what are you eating?
Tune in next week for the Neo from the Matrix impersonation.
I'll wear the black
contest. I've got my money on Jay. I think I'll lose, and so will Howie. But we'll see what happens. I'm expecting that beard, dude. Make it happen.
I'm not shaving.
Make it happen.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.